Hey guys, Necroxis here, and it's time for a video that I thought I would eventually have to make, but kind of hoped that I wouldn't, and so here we go. I'm still pretty incensed from reading what I read, so get ready for a ranting video, and with it comes all of the inspiring and thought-provoking dialogue in the comments that usually comes when I state an opinion that is controversial or not everyone agrees with. So, yeah, here we go. Blizzard, I woke up today, and Blizzard ended up doing an interview with the website Polygon, which is a third-party website, might I add, which I'll get to later. And the title of the article is Introducing Tanaan Jungle, 6 Things to Know About World of Warcraft's Newest Zone. And the first couple points are rather benign, but then we get to some of the stuff that really pisses me off. So let's just begin going right down the list. Number 1 is, you've seen Tanaan Jungle before, which is kind of a stupid point because I think the writers of the article have not realized that people have actually played the expansion and we know how the introduction went. But, you know, far be it from me to say how we didn't get the entire zone. We got like an hour's worth of it and then we had to leave. But, you know, so I guess technically we have seen it before. So, number 2 is, things have changed from your first visit to Tanaan Jungle. Once again, I don't think we would actually know because we actually didn't see Tanaan Jungle as a whole before we had to leave, and the area that we actually go through in the introduction gets passed by in about a matter of 5 minutes when you do the actual zone story, like you can see from the Garrison campaign. That's literally the only thing you do in that introduction area, so I guess things have changed. Maybe they just meant change from development to actual release, because we didn't get to see the actual zone until now, so... Number 3, Tanaan Jungle will have something for every kind of player, and I guess technically they are correct, although I have to laugh at their reasoning. So let's see. The quote is, there's a lot of completionist content for people who want to explore and dig out every secret of the zone, Hazzikostas said. I forgot to mention that it was Ian Hazzikostas, also known as Watcher, who did this interview with Polygon. In many ways, we've built Tanaan Jungle, building on our experiences and lessons learned from past outdoor zones like Isle of Thunder and Timeless Isle. I wish it was more Isle of Thunder and less Timeless Isle because I feel like in Timeless Isle there is not a lot to do. There's a lot of irrelevant fluff to do. And I don't know about you, but I would rather have engaging content across the entire zone rather than a bunch of rare mobs that drop cosmetic items that really don't do anything. I guess, I don't know why they keep presenting this false choice of like, we could have a really contained, super specific, awesome experience, or we can have a lot of shit, but it's a lot of fluff. I have to ask, you even mentioned Isle of Thunder here, you seem like you melded the two pretty well, and like every other endgame thing you've done before Warlords of Draenor, you've seemed to have done pretty well, Timeless Isle being the exception. Firelands did that pretty well, where there was some fluff stuff in there, but it was also a very interesting contained zone. Even going back to Isle of Gul'dan back in 2.3, I believe that was the patch, or 2.4 when Sunwell came out. But I guess now we have to decide between doing a very specific constructed piece of content or having a lot of fluff. But let me give them the benefit of the doubt and let them continue their quote. We're adding a couple of reputations for players to earn for multiple factions in the zone. Hey, that's great. Something people have wanted to do is have more factions so we can actually get out of our garrisons and do things in the game. You can gain those by defending certain areas that come under attack or going out and hunting rare creatures. You can unlock a cosmetic upgrade, some player power items, and some convenience items. There's a wide variety of things. So now we're back to this archaic vanilla model, again, like most of Warlords still. I don't know why they even bothered mentioning this, because they haven't changed anything, where you just have to go out and kill stuff for reputation. Because what's more fun than mindless grinding? Yeah, it works so well in the original 6.0. It's almost like 2.9 million people didn't leave the game. Let's just keep doing the same model that worked so well for us in the past. I don't understand why they keep doing this when... Actually, I do have a theory that I'll get to later, but let me just continue on with this little rant thought. I don't know why they decided that, some people thought maybe we had a little too many dailies in Mists of Pandaria, so let's just get rid of everything and make people mindlessly grind. Because once again, there's nothing more fun about sitting there going, With how easy classes are these days, let's push our 2 buttons and kill 1,500,000 mobs, and that'll get us our reputation. How fun is that? So, that's point number 3. And now we're going to get to point number 4, where things get really fun. Point number 4, there's still no flying into non-jungle, and there probably won't be in any new zones or expansions. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt and finish this quote as well before I explode and go on a murdering spree. Having looked at how flying is played out in the old world in the last couple expansions, we realized that we were doing it out of this ingrained habit after we introduced flying in the Burning Crusade. It actually detracted from gameplay in a lot of ways. While there was certainly convenience in being able to completely explore the world in 3 dimensions, that also came at the expense of gameplay like targeted exploration. Like trying to figure out what's in that cave on the top of the hill and how do I get there. Let's move down because there's more of this. I don't want to respond yet, even though I'm trying very hard not to say anything. Let's see. It made the world feel smaller in many ways, he said. Originally, Blizzard took out flying in Warlords of Draenor as an experiment, and Hazzikostas says he would bet slightly better than even money at the time that they were going to bring it back eventually. But as they played the expansion and watched others play it, they discovered they liked the game better without flying. Here comes the excuse once again. The world feels larger, and it feels more dangerous. There's more room for exploration, the secrets for discovery, and overall immersion in the world. There's that word again, immersion. At this point, we feel that outdoor gameplay in World of Warcraft is ultimately better without flying. We're not going to be reintroducing the ability to fly in Draenor, and that's kind of where we're going forward. Hazzikostas confirmed that this direction includes future expansions, though he doesn't discount the possibility that adding flight to specific expansion ideas or zones would benefit from it. In general, though, he believes that exploration in Blizzard's massive world works better and feels better in our view when you're doing it from the ground. He also promises that Blizzard will continue to improve its network of taxi flight paths. It's not like we've heard this one 100 times. To prevent any major frustrations from this change. The goal is to maximize convenience. Is it really? Because I'm pretty sure the fucking maximum convenience would be letting us fly wherever the fuck we want to go. I'm sorry. I didn't finish the quote. The goal is to maximize convenience and getting from point to point, but retaining as much of the gameplay and depth as possible once you do get to that point. So, let's take this apart piece by piece. They say that there's convenience, and then they actually bring up convenience at the end of this point, and it makes it sound like they are completely fucking bullshitting us and themselves by saying, there's a lot of convenience in flying, and then at the end of the article saying, we want to keep a lot of the convenience in. Maybe let people fly then. I missed the part. Hazzikostas gives an example. Before flying was introduced in World of Warcraft, if you got a quest to rescue a prisoner from an enemy encampment, it would play out a certain way. Players would need to fight their way through the camp. After flying, players could just fly into the center of the camp, land on top of the hut where the prisoner was, free him, and fly out. Let's give an example of how this quest actually worked back in vanilla, and I know because I fucking played it. Let's see, you get a quest to go rescue somebody from a camp. Let's use Goldshire, for example. There's not an actual quest like this, but I'm just going to invent one for an example. So you get a quest from Goldshire where you need to go to one of the mines and free somebody who's being held prisoner there. What you do is you run to the mines, you run through all the mobs, you don't fight any of them because they chain a very specific short distance away. So once you get about 60 meters away, they will run back to where they were. You run past all the enemies, you click on the guy, maybe you die, but then you run back to your corpse, you click on the guy, complete the quest, and then run out. That's how you do it. You don't fucking sit there and fight every single mob because that would take about an hour's worth of your time, and nobody does that. Nobody does that. Nobody fucking does that. So, there's that point addressed. They say it makes the world feel smaller in many ways. I guess they apparently just completely changed their mind when they had, like, let's see, Blade's Edge Mountains, which had a flying zone. That didn't feel smaller. We had the Storm Peaks. We had Ice Crown. We had Nagrand. We had, let's see, what other zones? Twilight Highlands. Let's see, we have Vale of the Eternal Blossoms. We have, the Dread Waste. We have Kunlai Summit. All of those places you can fly in, they didn't feel smaller, actually. What actually feels smaller is the zones in Warlords that are forcing you to be on the ground mile because it takes you longer to get from point to point. That's what makes the game feel smaller, not having flying. And it's because the zones are actually smaller. There's a very large contained amount of fluff bullshit in the zones, but that doesn't mean the zones are gigantic. It just means they are forcing you to take longer to get from point A to point B. That doesn't mean the world is larger. It just means you've artificially pretended that it is. So, let's see. There's more room for exploration. He brings up the point of jumping puzzles, which is funny because there are already things in the game that completely fucking break jumping puzzles. You want to break the jumping puzzles and get them very easily without actually having to do them? Become an engineer, or get an engineering bay, or whatever the fuck it's called, Gnomish Engineering Workshop, where you can just get that shit that blows you up into the air and you can just fly around wherever you want. I'm pretty sure that destroys jumping puzzles like that. But I guess flying, we can't do flying because that'll break it too. Never mind the fact that we're being completely fucking hypocritical about it. They don't deserve my money, they don't deserve your money with shit like this. So, whether or not you think flying is important, because there's always one or two people on all my videos where I bring this up that say, Necro, why do you keep talking about flying? Not everyone cares about it. Guess what? A lot of people do. A lot of people do. Go to point number 5. Tanan Jungle will not be the only major patch addition. Tanan Jungle will not be the only major addition to patch 6.2. For a lot of people, particularly those coming back for a new patch, it's very easy to get overwhelmed about certain things you should be doing, Hazzikostas says. This is definitely something we saw in Mists of Pandaria. Because why give people a lot of things to do and have them confused when you can give them a lot of fluff, irrelevant bullshit to do and pretend that that is better? They're adding in the adventure guide, and they act like this is a huge big deal. But it really is just kind of a bullet point list of things you should do. I haven't shown this off on the 6.2 PTR because it's a minor feature. It's not a major feature. You click on it and it says, here's the list of things you can do. In fact, here's a screenshot of it right now. Wow, look how great this looks. Isn't it fantastic? All it is you click a thing, it says, oh, do you like to PvE? Here's a list of things you can do. Do you like to PvP? Here's a list of things you can do. Do you like to do pet battles? Here's a list of things you can do. Do you like to do outdoor content? Here's a list of things you can do. That's not a major feature. That's a bunch of bullet points on a list. So the fact that they decide that this is a gigantic feature of the game is kind of funny. Then they bring up time walking. Time walking is fine. It's actually pretty fun. It's still ridiculously easy. It's a little bit harder than the dungeons are right now, but it's nowhere near the difficulty that Burning Crusade dungeons were, and once again, I played those during that time, so I remember sitting in trade chat for an hour, looking for people for a group of heroic Shattered Halls, only to get to the boss where it mind controls everybody. Excuse me, Shadow Labs, where the boss where it mind controls everybody, and then a swipe and everyone breaks up and leaves. So, it's nowhere even near that level of difficulty. So, you know, Hazzikostas says that could be added to future raids, although that brings up some new challenges. Because, you know, why willingly bring up a potential of having it in new things, only to immediately shoot down your point and say, but we're not going to do it because that would be too hard. Final point, patch 6.2 isn't the final update for Warlords of Draenor, but Blizzard is working on the next expansion as well. We've got plenty more story to be told after this, Hazzikostas says, when asked whether or not 6.2 would be the last big content update for Warlords. One place where we all agree, players certainly agree, is that we fell a bit short with the number of months between our last content patch and the next expansion. A couple of months, I'm pretty sure you were a year too long between the last expansion and this one. But once again, far be it from me to point out that you kept repeatedly bringing up the fact that your team grew by 50%. So, that's basically the point. 6.2 isn't the final patch, which makes me think that nothing that actually happens here matters, because what the fuck are they going to do story-wise past this to make it seem like it's more dangerous than fucking Archimon coming back and trying to destroy the entire planet? Oh, we got to deal with some trolls later on, though. That's much more dangerous. Have they forgotten how to storytell in their own game where it's very easy to begin with? You make the biggest threat be the last thing that you do. And when you have Archimon, who's arguably the third most powerful person in the entire fucking Burning Legion, come back and try to destroy the world, maybe even second more powerful, because I'm not sure Kil'jaeden and Archimon, they both have different strengths, so I can't tell which one's supposed to go where. But Sargeras and then those two. So when you have either the second or third most powerful enemy in the Burning Legion come to the planet, try to destroy it, and then invade Azeroth, you better pull out all the stops to make the next story even more dangerous than that. And I can't really think of any single thing they could do connected to Warlords. They could pull something completely out of their ass, I guess. But it's going to feel super artificial because, once again, it's fucking Archimon. So, Here's the article that they made on Polygon, and I should mention that it's on Polygon. They couldn't even be bothered to put it on their own website, and I wonder why that possibly could be. If you go look on the forums, you know exactly why. People, excuse me, I burped. People are freaking the fuck out, and rightfully so. So, because Blizzards are a bunch of fucking cowards, they can't even release all of this information, including flying, which people have been repeatedly asking them about over and over and over and over. They couldn't even have the balls to put that information on their own website, even on their own Twitter. They had to go through a third-party website to do it. That's fucking cowardly. That's cowardly. Because they know that it's going to piss a lot of people off. They know. Don't tell me that they don't know people are going to be upset. So what better way to alleviate this is to make it be on somebody else's website where they don't have to deal with it. Unfortunately for them, and good for us, it's spilled over into the actual forums and everywhere else that World of Warcraft is being talked about. This is a load of horse shit. So, in the end, Blizzard, once again, has proven that apparently, starting with Warlords of Draenor, they really don't care about what players want anymore. They just really want to extend... I can actually say, for the first time, I am 100% certain now, where in the past I would say, this might be true or might not be true, but now I can say for 100% certainty, in my opinion, they are no longer trying to make World of Warcraft the best game they can make. They're trying to see how much money they can milk out of it. And we can see that from their bullshit excuse of immersion for why flying isn't a thing anymore and why it's not going to be a thing going into the future, which is, as I've explained before, just makes it take longer to get from place to place. So that really seems to be the only reason. Artificially extend the time that it takes to do literally anything. That seems to be, you know, the motto of the expansion, and they're going to continue making it be so going forward. So when they do stuff like this, I have to think to myself, are they really trying to make the best expansion possible? Or are they trying to milk World of Warcraft that's 10 years old now for as much money as they can before people realize that it's nowhere near as good as it used to be, even the last expansion. Nowhere near as good as even the last expansion. And you know what? If I were you guys, I would unsubscribe. And if you still want to play, learn how to make gold. It's really, really easy. And pay for your expansion with gold rather than with money. Blizzard doesn't deserve your money. Especially in this expansion that costs $10 more for objectively less content. So, thanks for watching, everybody. This has been a rant by Necroxis. I'm sure all of the discussion will be super calm like I've been in this video. No one's freaked out. What? I've never done that. So, let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. And stay awesome. I will see you next time. I'm going to go play some games that are actually good now and alleviate my building want to murder everybody who works at Blizzard Entertainment. Luckily for them, I live across the country. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Farewell.